throw up actually. Is that fair point, is it?
Yeah, I can see that completely. I mean, I suppose the question is whether the current 10-team setup is working. Western cricketers tend to be drifting away from it anyway and applying their trade in various T20 leagues around the world. Zimbabwe barely play any test cricket anymore. They've dropped off the rankings, but they've played enough. Bangladesh are down there. So if you started a two-divisional system now, 7 in the first division, as Dave Richardson suggested, 5 in the second. The second division will be headed by West Indies, Bangladesh, Zimbabwe, and then probably Ireland and Afghanistan with Nepal trying to muscle on in there. So perhaps West Indies would say, the West Indies board would look at it and say, we haven't invested properly in test cricket. We've allowed this situation to arise where the 2020 players are taking over. Here's our chance to show we're serious about test cricket. We don't want to be in Division 2. Let's get up there with the big boys and reinvest in the game again. Let's get Caribbean test cricket great.
Let's have your thoughts. Christian Redding kicks us off. 2 divisions, he says, have done nothing for the quality of county cricket. Stunted development of the 2015-16 Central contracted and increment contracted players. 2 were outside the division. It's a myth that encourages improvement. Only elitism and inaccessibility to top table. A single hand for test match cricket. Inclusiveness, not ostracism, is what will expand test cricket. You like words like that, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Marvellous word. Ostracism, being ostracised, yeah. But you do wonder, I mean, you hear Kumar Sangakkara there saying that those were the 2 most exciting test matches he played in. That was 2 years ago. Sri Lanka have now lost those 2 players. Look at them heading the a couple of weeks ago and you say, well, that's a perfect case for having 2 divisions. They were outplayed.
Yes.
It looked like man against world.
It did, but perhaps that in a second. But I just want to take back the point that you said about the 2 that were to go down now. There are 7 in the top division, say. And you mentioned who was to go down. You said West Indies, Bangladesh. Who would have gone down in that situation 16 years ago?
16 years ago,
England, 2000. England and India. Correct.
well,
England and India would have gone down to the second division. And I have to say, I wonder what would have happened to Test cricket here if that had happened.
I think England would have looked at it and thought this is unacceptable, as they did at the time in any case, and got their act together and climbed back up the table, which they did under Duncan Fletcher's coaching in any case. So, look, it's a good incentive. One of the great complaints about international cricket these days is it's meaningless. These bilateral series go on, and we do have a Test championship, and I think that the number 1 ranking does create a bit of a chat. But wouldn't this create some more chat at the other end of Division 1, the top of Division 2, the bottom of Division 2? Because of course the suggestion is that the team that gets relegated from that will be replaced by the top team in intercontinental cricket. The ICC are all about growing the game. That's been their mission statement for a long time, and for too many years that hasn't seemed to be matched by their deeds. So if you're now encouraging the other 100-odd ICC nations to think that there is a pathway to Test cricket, who knows how the game might spread.
No, I agree with that, and I want to make clear, I mean, I'm not anti-change. I think something needs to be done, but I'm not sure that this is the way that I would choose. Chris emails, if England were relegated, would it then put the Ashes on hold until England get promoted? But you see, I think that's a really good point, and they talk about 2 divisions, but the Ashes will still stay.
It would, yeah.
Well, what's the point of having 2 divisions if there's suddenly this sort of breakaway series between a team in the first division and a team in the second?
Well, exactly. You abide by the rules of this competition, and then suddenly, we fancy playing you because
Could make lots of money.
Time-honoured combat and all that.
Yeah. More covers going on, by the way. Let me just give you that news. Meanwhile, both teams are playing football. It is a bit bizarre, isn't it? But it is often the way. I suppose they will say, well, look, we're getting loosened up and ready to do something, just in case we don't have much notice from the umpires. But the umpires were due to come out at 1:10 They haven't been seen. Only umpire Goff, the 4th, is out there, but it can't be raining that much because Michael Vaughan is out there. So it must just be this sort of infuriatingly light drizzle. I suppose this series, and particularly Sri Lanka's performances in the first 2 tests, is what again got this bandwagon rolling again. Wasn't it more talk about 2 divisions? Jeffrey was banging away about men against boys and that sort of thing. How responsible do you think we are, I'm using us as a host country this time, for that, in actually staging those matches in May up in the north against a team who clearly would be completely bewildered, out of their normal zone, and were always going to struggle, frankly. I mean, do you think that was a responsible, sensible decision taken by the board? In anybody's interest, us
reschedule the state of the summer, there could be even fewer tests. So the problem will only get worse. But yes, I don't think that helped, and in a way it sort of muddied the waters of the two division argument, because it's people say, well, we don't want to see these guys, but we all know that Sri Lanka need the chance to improve.
But are you saying we need to make them look good?
I'm just saying I think Test cricket needs to look good. I'm not sure that
By making them look more stronger team and get.
Well, I sort of take your point, but I can't think that was in the interest of anything really to do that. I mean, they could have played somewhere else.
When they sealed bids though, I mean that was another problem, because Durham wouldn't have bid for that test had they known Headingley was going to get another one.
Correct. Well, and they did bid for that test. I mean, I think actually there was some pressure on them not to bid that test match. I think there was even moves afoot to persuade them, in fact pay them, not to stage that test, but they were determined to do so. But do you think somehow there was a responsibility from the game's administrators to the game of Test cricket? It's not just about winning or losing or making money. It's the product, and
That's right, and that's.
I think the product suffered as a result of the last 3 weeks.
It can't be massaged too much.
No, and the best team should win, and that's the case in Test cricket.
You say, Agus, that Test cricket is the responsibility of the administrators, and I absolutely agree. The question is, where will Test cricket be in 10 years' time if we do nothing about the current setup?
Correct.
Australia come here and the grounds are packed out, and we think all is right with the world. Even on the first 2 days here, we had 26,000 at Lords for Sri Lanka, and it seemed like everything was fine. But generally speaking, outside London, and I'm talking about the world here, not just England, outside London, it's rare to see a packed house for Test cricket. So what the administrators are doing now, arguably, is to try something a bit different. And Pring mentioned about throwing a lot of ideas and seeing which stick. Well, I don't mind that, because look at the pink ball test in Adelaide. It was open 3 days. We had 130,000 people through the gates. This was a New Zealand test. These are figures you generally only see for an Ashes test.
Shouldn't they do it selectively though, to find out maybe which one works, rather than all at the same time?
Yeah, but we're only talking about two ideas here. We're talking about a day-night test, which is a pink ball test, so that's one idea, and we're talking about promotion and relegation. The two for me would go hand in hand, I think. We can't keep going on in a situation where we tell ourselves everything's okay because Lords and sometimes the Oval is packed out, but everywhere else all the crowds are going to watch 2020 franchise cricket. There was that game in Australia at the start of the year, 80,000 packed into the MCG for Melbourne Renegades against Melbourne, whatever the other team are called.
Yes.
I should know.
Stars, aren't they?
Stars, yes. And across, somewhere else there was Australia playing West Indies in a test match and hardly anyone there. So they're trying to do something, and I applaud that.
Well, Graham Roberts doesn't like it. Not a good idea. What cricket needs are less tours, fewer tours, and proper series. The teams given proper preparation, and that's not a bad shout either. I mean, I think if you sort of stripped Test cricket down to where it is at the moment, it is a real hodgepodge. I mean, in a way, if you look at it, if you're a businessman coming in, you'd say, what chance has this product got? They're not preparing for it as they used to do. There's turning up playing. Some are 5-match series, some are 3-match series, some are 2-match series. Some are done as a favour. There's no real foundation for what is supposed to be the pinnacle of our game.
Those days are gone, unfortunately. We have players are filling in the gaps by playing IPL, Big Bash, West Blast, whatever. They're going around the world and they're filling their boots financially in that sense. So the days of Australia playing 30 county games on a tour of England are gone. It's a shame, but the world has moved on. So it's a question now of how we make the most of that and save all three formats.
I don't mind so much them sort of not playing games between the tests all the time. And back-to-back tests, I think, are here to stay, aren't they? It's the preparation beforehand, actually, just to get into foreign conditions and actually give yourself a proper chance of competing.
Especially given now, because the international itinerary is so busy, that you don't get any players playing county cricket anymore. I mean, specifically about preparation in English conditions. You just don't get those players playing anymore. So teams come here and they're all pretty naive.
Phil Young went here some support for it, actually. One-sided matches do Test cricket, no favours. Let the stronger teams play each other, and the weaker teams in the second division can aspire to greater heights. He says, I gave up on this series from match 1 because there was no competition. Well, they've come back and they've played a bit better, and they learned something.
It's such a fine line. Listen, when I was with Oman, I saw the Irish team. I'm afraid you need a much bigger player base if you're going to compete in Test cricket. A couple of players can make them look good in T20, but a couple of players will make no difference in Test cricket. You need 5 or 6 or maybe even more players pulling their weight and competing with those players that can play Test cricket. And I'm not sure those players are there.
Yes, I mean, would
20 years away from producing the kind of squad you might get that could possibly compete. Probably 3 actually.
Do they want to play Test cricket? Is that any, although it's miles away, is that a sort of a dream one day for the Omani Cricket Association?
I don't know, I think they're realistic and they're taking one step at a time. At the moment they've just lost to Jersey in the 50 over tournament, but that was ICC League World Division 5.
Right, so they are a way off. I'm just keeping an eye on what's happening out here, and it doesn't look very nice actually. Yeah, I can see like some umbrellas of enough like Fremont down there in the bandstand, for instance, and another one raised. So although the crowd down there are being entertained by England's cricketers playing football at the moment on a rather greasy surface, I can imagine one or two people chuntering about that. They're not actually watching them play cricket. The Sri Lankans are playing football again too. The covers are on, the umpires are nowhere to be seen, and so that's disappointing. We won't be starting at past, that's for sure. Sean Devlin in Dublin says, as an Irish cricket fan, I'm furious listening to this. Why is Test cricket the plaything of the top teams, particularly teams that have shown it such disrespect? Ireland are more than equal to the West Indies, Zimbabwe, Bangladesh and even Sri Lanka, yet we're not allowed to play Test cricket. This proposal is a fantastic opportunity for cricket in Ireland, and we'd hold our own much more than some teams currently playing Test cricket. We can't afford to wait for a World Cup every 4 years, which we're banned from now anyway, to inspire youngsters to play the game. Give us a chance and we'll prove the doubters wrong. There was some Irish passion there.
I disagree with Sean, I'm afraid. Test cricket requires a big player base.
I'm afraid I disagree with Sean too, but how do you get a team that has shown it can compete in one-day cricket? How do you get them onto the ladder of Test cricket without somehow giving them a chance?
Well, you need a strong league competition in your own country, and you need to play longer form cricket. I'm pretty sure that, I don't know if they play over 2 weekends, but at the moment I think they play mainly 50 over 20.
Yeah, playing strong first-class cricket. I mean, you need that structure in place.
Some of the guys play county cricket.
They'd have to play in the county system.
Yes.
I'm not sure that, Sri Lanka first played Test cricket in 82, 83. They've never had a particularly structured first-class setup.
No, they haven't.
Here we are now, England, they're giving them a pretty bad beating. Bangladesh still haven't got their Test game in order, really. And the thing about Ireland is they've invested quite a bit into the prospect of Test cricket. I think perhaps to the detriment of their white ball cricket, ironically, because that was where they were causing some upsets at global level. They really want Test cricket, and is cricket in a position where we can turn around and say, oh, I'm not sure the Irish domestic setup is quite good enough? It's not. Cricket cannot be picky at the moment. We're fighting, I know as a newspaper writer as well, I'm fighting all the time for column inches on cricket, and it's not just at my newspaper, the Mail, it's at broadsheets as well. You see it all the time. Ireland Test cricket would get people talking about it much more over there. Afghanistan is a cracking story. It's one of the great stories in international cricket over the last few years. And if you had the teams at intercontinental level pushing for a Division 2 spot, well, that's great as far as I'm concerned. We need to get a bit more chat going around.
It's a really interesting conversation. On the one hand, you're trying to encourage teams like Afghanistan and others without disenfranchising the vulnerable Test playing nations who would go down in the second division. I mean, would it be mischievous, we shall see, to say England get absolutely thrashed on the subcontinent this winter? Men against boys, can't play the spring ball, it's going all over the place. What are people going to say then? I mean, that's really the equivalent to what Sri Lanka have had here.
Absolutely. And that's why I think you've got to maintain that home advantage. You can't say, oh, it's up to the administrators and the grounds with the way the opposition did play.
But that's precisely the point, because I think that is the debate that will happen in England. And we'll look back now and think, well, what a bitter irony. But
and we can't possibly complain because of what we've done to Sri Lanka.
We can't, and then it'll be up to
then we would.
Well, it'll be up to the boards to say, oh, we've got to do something about this.
Exactly.
That is the whole point.
And perhaps in the interest of Test cricket.
Right, but also we don't want to go into Division 2. It'll be a bun fight not to go down. So actually, games like New Zealand versus Pakistan in the UAE might suddenly get a bit more interest than just a few locals talking about.
James Doherty emails from Scotland. The league structure clearly provides a path for associate nations to play Test cricket promoted from the ICC Intercontinental Cup to Test's second division. For as much as many fear the first division would encourage elitism, you forget that Test nations are rarely in an elite, while associate nations are developing quickly, but given very chances at the professional level as well. So Test nations are already James, while associate nations are developing quickly, but given very few chances at the professional level. Well, I guess, you know, if you are from Scotland, Ryan, that will be the figure, won't it? How on earth do you break through this ceiling?
I'm sorry, I mean, I don't know whether this is a valid analogy, but, you know, we played NatWest, B&H, and occasionally have minor counties playing against them. Those minor counties occasionally won, but if you look at all the games they played over the years, they didn't win very often. There's a vast gulf. I'm sorry, there's a vast gulf.
That was one game, and they got one game a season against the first class counties. Now, if you interested,
possibly two, one in the West as well.
Great, 2 games in the year.
Yeah.
The setup for Division 2 is they'd all played sort of, I think, 6 or 9 tests a year against each other, something like that over a 2-year period. So teams like Zimbabwe, for example, couldn't just populate their calendar with a one-day game. I'm not saying that Zimbabwe playing Test cricket is going to save Test cricket. I'm just to give a sense of how you contextualise this and how it might.
But it's when they come up. It's the 2 that come up suddenly play against the 1 Test country. Right? It'll be a complete mismatch.
Well, fine, but you know they'll be playing more than 2 games a year, so I think the rate of improvement is good.
What about New Zealand? That's an interesting case, and that they're often sort of floating around. They've been having actually piled recently, but they're generally around that bottom area. What they have done for Test cricket is fantastic. They really go there, and lucky enough to go and watch Test cricket in New Zealand. It's completely unlike it over here. Lovely small grassy grounds, banks, and Radio 2 music coming out, you know, in a typical sort of Radio New Zealand way, but you know what I mean? And it's such a lovely atmosphere. You just can't help feel that if that got
populated by the Army though. How many
they
locals
enjoyed it. Enough to make it to make it that sort of low key but enjoyable day out. I mean, you know, you're never going to pack a Test ground out. I don't know. Maybe it's more for countries like that to actually make the experience more enjoyable for people to come along. That actually is the start of of the battle, and the empty stands and everything else.
I guess they maybe we're going to find out soon enough if they do implement these changes, whether it is the format that's making people not turn up or the timing of it.
Yes.
Well, New Zealand would start in Division 1, don't forget. I heard Brendan McCullum earlier say that they might start Division 2. That's not the case. I mean, they would be a Division 1 team. And I think what you're saying, Agus, is absolutely right, that they have turned the Test experience into something a bit different. They've been realistic about where Test cricket stands at the moment. They've sent it to their smaller grounds. Maybe 4,000 or 5,000 come in, they sit on the grassy banks. It creates a different sort of vibe from the day-night white ball cricket.
Now too.
They have, and they've decided to play their Test cricket in a certain way. So they're a great example of what you can do if you decide to approach the 5-day game differently.
They removed, or under McCullum, they essentially moved the draw from Test cricket.
Chris in Melton.
Because they lost more than they won, but
Hello, Chris
draw
in
was
Melton. I want to
minimised.
mate from the pub. Listening to discussion about 2 divisions.